So the first topic is let's find a job. Okay. Most people, when they think of job searches, they tend to go with the easy way, which is just job searching on job aggregate websites like Monster or other things of that nature. There are lots of other ways to job search, though, which we'll talk about today. And it is the fastest way to job search is currently online, but there are ways to do that without just going to an aggregate website. So outside of that, you have social media websites. So you have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, which are all also posting jobs and having connections to other people as well. So you're not just relying on looking at job applications or job descriptions, but you can actually connect with other people, which is partially word of mouth. And that's also why you're here, is the networking chance with other people who are working in the same position as you, who may have good ideas to connect you with jobs once you graduate too. Also have listservs. So I don't know how many of you are connected to the MSU listserv for jobs, but there's a separate one just for jobs. You're probably getting a lot of them on the MSW or BSW listservs for appropriate levels, but there is actually a job listserv as well, which we can talk about and get you connected with at the end of the day if you're not already connected with it once you graduate too. So you can still get job applications for that. So part of it too is creativity of searching. So like I've been saying, if you just use one source of information, you're going to miss out on casting a wide enough net to catch potential opportunities that you may not even thought about, depending on how your job searching as well. So I did a quick Google search outside of the normal realm of ones that I knew about and found 15 other websites that are doing job searches specific to social work as well as generalist for any job across. Because even people who are potentially saying, I want to be a therapist, looking outside that box of what terms are we using, how we're looking for those can change too. So the first three are pretty much just job aggregates that are general. Monster, Indeed, and Idealist are all pretty basic in terms of how you're looking at them. Social Work Job Bank sounds kind of odd, but it actually is a really nice website focused on social work jobs in particular. So it actually can be very helpful when looking for jobs just related to social work. And it contains a lot of things that you may not have even thought about in terms of job descriptions, places you might go, other ways to go about finding jobs that would fit with what you're looking for. The NASW does have jobs listed, and those are national jobs. So for people who may not be staying in Michigan or even just in the Lansing area, that would be helpful as well in terms of specific for it. And you don't have to be a member in order to access that, but it can help to be a member to use that part of the site. USA Jobs is the government one. So there are a lot of social work jobs that you may not have even thought about that are related to the government. You have people who are working for veterans or for housing agencies, for DHHS, that are government level jobs that you may not have noticed, but are actually applicable and available depending on your status. So there are job search agents, which are what we talked about already in terms of Monster and Indeed, but you can also, in that, you can set up notifications so that it will ding you every time that there's a job availability that comes up. So it's not just reliant on you having to be constantly on the page every day, but setting up search parameters so that it actually lets you notifies you when there's a new job that comes available. And also there are apps for most of these as well, which I was a little surprised about because I didn't even know that. But Monster, Indeed, Idealist, LinkedIn all have job-related apps where you can use them on your phone, tablet, whatever, to be looking for jobs too. The other one that some people don't think about is your field placement. Your field placement is going to have some kind of website, whether that's through Facebook, other social media, or having its own official website, depending on where you're located. And they should have jobs posted if they have availability, depending on the size of the organization and everything else. It's an option, and it's worth looking into because it's a great way. You already have experience. You already know the people there. It's a great way to go about job searching, and it's networking too already. So thinking outside the box in terms of how you job search. People use the terms like therapist for clinical terms or advocate for macro. There are lots of other words that you can use that you may not have thought about in terms of how that might look for job searching. Therapist, case manager, counselor, wellness coach, team leader, clinical coordinator, child and family therapist, adult therapist. It all depends on what you're using. Because you type in social worker into a job search and you're going to get a wide variety of things, but it's also going to miss others because they're not listing social worker as the requirement, because they're looking at people who might have degrees in psychology, counseling, or other programs that might not be related, public administration, law. That comes up a lot too for on the macro side of things. So changing up the terms that you use outside of just, I have an MSW, I'm a social worker. Depending on what you're looking to do, it could be domestic violence advocate. It could be case manager for any population. It could be civil servant. There's lots of different options in there. Same thing on the macro side, advocacy, activism, community organizing, enrollment manager. All these terms are different depending on what you're looking to do and can incorporate what you're looking to do even if you're not using the same terms they are. So it really is helpful to think outside of that while you're doing that. So one of the recommendations is investing in a thesaurus. It's about $7-8 if you get a paperback copy, or Microsoft Word has a great one. All you have to do is type in a word, highlight it, and it will help change it. Or you have thesaurus.com too. So there's lots of ways to find different options that might work in terms of even thinking outside the box of what you were using, new terms that might be listed that you may not have even thought about. Also, it helps to know about the licensure when you're working on this. If you're staying within state, the licensure is an LMSW or LLMSW for those who have limited license still. But once you get outside the state or different licensures, you're talking about an alphabet soup, LCSW, ACSW, probably some of you don't even know what those terms mean. And you don't have to yet, but you might if you're applying for jobs that are requiring those or writing them down as preferred options, because they are going to be things that you need to understand, especially when they go and ask, hey, do you have this licensure? And if you just look at them blankly, it's done. So, and there's also other credentials outside of that they're talking about, which again is really alphabet soup. So TSVT, CAADC, LMFT. Anyone recognize any of these terms? Some of them, maybe? A couple? Okay, bless you. So those terms are going to come up as well in terms of trainings, licensure, and there's many others. These are just a few examples of the options that might come up in a job application. And you're also talking about, do you have driver's license? Do you have a chauffeur's license? There's things that come up with that, especially for case managers, where you have to have certain types of licensure that you may even think about until you get to the job world and realize, oh, I might need something outside of what I've already gained. MSU can help. Might believe that, maybe a little bit. Okay, so like I said, there's a job listserv. Sign up for notifications, and that's specific mostly for jobs in Michigan. I believe they do post jobs outside of that as well. So it's worthwhile to have those additional, because I get, any of the faculty or staff who get notifications will then forward those on. We get notifications from our connections, and we'll connect you to those as much as possible as we know about them. So it really is helpful. Career services. We have Marcus coming in later. He works for Career Services, and but they have an online system that you can use, which actually has job postings listed as well, called Handshake, and it can be helpful. Or you can even set up just a time to meet with them, and they might have other ideas of what to use for jobs as well. And like I keep talking about, speaking with peers, professionals, staff, anyone that you're connected with at your field placements, at your jobs, within the school of social work, outside of it, if you're taking classes outside of it. Talk to those professors or anyone. They might have ideas too that you may not even thought about as well. I found one of my positions previous to this through meeting with people in the School of Psychology. They have related jobs that may be connected to what you're interested in doing that you may not have thought about because it's just slightly different from social work. So 79% of job seekers use social media in their job search. Basically 4/5 of people are using social media, whatever form that may take. Social media is everywhere at this point. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have Facebook at least, if not Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, something. A lot of those can be used for job searches. Some not so much as other. I don't think Pinterest probably contains a lot of job search ideas. But thinking outside the box is another way to go, is a way to go about it. Just searching for things, you find articles or other things that are related tangentially or directly to what you're looking for. And it's worth a shot if it means getting a job or even a chance at a job. So the main ones that we're talking about today, though, are LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm not going to spend too much time on LinkedIn today because Marcus will be talking about it. But a couple things in terms of job searching. Like I said, there's a job search app, so it actually takes 5 seconds. It's small. It will actually connect you to finding jobs related to what's available on LinkedIn. Excuse me. You can check connections if you have any familiarity with it. They have ability to have degrees of connection to other people. I've only started using it this past week because I was terrible at it too. So I was only finding this stuff out this week too. But they do have availability to check level of connection to other people. So you're seeing the degree of separation, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but in this case, connection to other people that you're working with as well. So you can find people who may not be directly related to you, but may be connected to the organization you're working with, to MSU or something else, and ways to find jobs through that networking that comes along. They also have a nice follow company feature. So you can actually go on there and find companies and follow them and get updates as to what jobs they might have available, information on new and upcoming events, things like that. There are ways to do different things that you may not have thought of. Facebook has some of the same stuff. Most of you, I'm assuming, yeah. I feel like there's every once in a while there's a person who doesn't like Facebook for whatever reason and doesn't have it, but it is worthwhile to use in terms of following companies. The School of Social Work is on there. I hope if you're on Facebook, you're following the School of Social Work, because we do have job postings on there. We do have events. This event was posted on there, as well as other things. And it's a way to stay connected to the School of Social Work once you've graduated as well. But you can follow other companies as well. I would just recommend the School of Social Work for all of you. But local organizations, national organizations, the NASW is on there. You're talking about widely known organizations that have professional information they're listed on there. And it's not just job postings though, it's also other information about how to look for jobs, new information about changes in licensure, other things that will be important to you even once you do have a job. So it's really worth your time to look into any aspect of following companies that you might find important. Also networking with colleagues. I'm assuming if you're on social media, you're connecting to your friends that you're in classes with, you're interacting with them, whether it's sharing memes or talking about whatever's happening in the upcoming events. But you can use it too for sending messages. Same thing with LinkedIn. You can send messages to find out more information about whatever company, if they have a knowledge about it, if they did an interview or internship with that company or might know someone. It's a great way to find out information and background when you're job searching to see if they might know anything about it that might be helpful for you. So 2 of the big terms that come up in job searches that are important is preferred versus required. Required means you better have this or you don't bother applying. There's some flexibility in it, but that's basically what it means. You don't get a whole lot of choice. If it says required that you have 2 years of job experience or an MSW, you better have that before applying, because otherwise they're going to throw your application away. Preferred or desired means really like if you know how to do this because it's important. Preferred to have background in Spanish. Preferred to have experience working with adolescent populations. It'd be great if you had this, but it's not going to stop us altogether from even giving you a chance. So what they usually talk about is having some of the preferred applications, some of the preferred requirements, but not all of them. So if you have 1 or 2, but not all 10, it's still worthwhile to apply. Because again, it's not a requirement, it's not heavily needed. You don't need to have that in order to succeed the job, but they would like it because it boosts up less training for them or other things that might come into play that makes it less complicated for them to manage that. But on the required side, it could be based on timeline too. So you have licensure. All of you are probably applying for licensure after you graduate, whether it's bachelor's level or master's level. That tends to be a requirement for most companies. But as newly graduated, some companies are willing to overlook that licensure requirement as long as you're working on it. So they'll say, okay, you are applying, great. So if you have it within the next 3 months, we'll have you as a limited employee, but you need to have it so that we can transfer you over to being a full-time employee. So there is some leeway on that. Part of that would be putting it into your cover letter so that they know that what's going on, that you're actually putting these things down. Same thing for any of the licensures, certifications that we talked about. If you need your CAADC, they might be willing to work with you on that. But again, you have to apply in order to find out if that's going to actually happen or not. So there is some leeway within that. Years of experience is also another one. It may say required 5 years of experience working with kids. You may be able to get some leeway if you're not, I mean, if you're going and applying with 1 year of experience working with children, you might be a little far off, but if you have, 4-ish years or something, and you can talk about experiences you have other ways, it can still be worth applying. And like I said, you clarifying your cover letter. So you're making sure that the information is covered somewhere so that they know what you're talking about. Kind of have been saying this over and over. Don't disqualify yourself. Just because you don't have everything required doesn't mean it's a waste of your time. So some people have talked about this probably or heard about this. There's a Hewlett-Packard report that happened. Men apply for a job when they meet 60% of the qualifications, but women only apply when they meet 100% of them. See some smiles. Those people kind of might feel that maybe it's accurate, or might be some reasons behind that. There's actually a woman who did a report off of this. She actually did another survey and found that it wasn't about confidence. It was more about feeling like it's a waste of time, or that it wasn't useful for whatever reason. And men had similar explanations for it. But this report still shows you don't have to meet 100% of the qualifications to apply for a job. And it shouldn't matter your gender either. If you think that you want this job and you meet even 60%, it could be worth applying. You might get an interview, which is again is experience for you and a chance to have that feedback or connection to someone that may even know about a better job that fits you. And applications feel like a lot of work. I'm sure, as you recall, when you applied for grad school, that application felt like a lot of work and a lot of stress. Job applications can feel like the same amount with less essays and less letters of recommendation required, but it's still a lot of work to do them. But if it leads to a job, it can be worth it. So it's worth your time to do this, even if it feels like you may not be the most proficient person with any specific topic. I was in a job interview where I was surrounded by people who had PhDs in clinical psychology and had 10 years of experience and could talk circles around me about intricacies of research on psychology. But because I could speak to my experience and what was important, I was the one who ended up getting the job. So it doesn't matter, like, don't feel intimidated by someone who, just because they have a higher degree or more experience, you still have parts about you that are important and worthwhile and authentic that you bring to the table, which is why we're meeting today too, is we'll talk about that and what that means. Okay. Are there any questions? They may not really hear you. So it doesn't matter if the experience is related to clinical social work or another field or something else that might be related to that. It depends on the company and what they're looking for. Some organizations may want it specifically related, and they'll usually write that in the job description. They'll say, I want 5 years required of experience with populations with mental illness or older adults. But there's flexibility even within those terms. So working with mental illness, your internships count as experience. So those kinds of things are important to know. But doesn't mean that it has to be you were in a 40-hour-a-week job for 5 years in order to get that. It could be volunteer experience too. It could be part-time work. It could be other things within that. It's all about how you shape that and sell that to the organization you're applying to.